Hey, Dave Parrish here, coming at with you with another video. By the way, I'm in Nicaragua right now. Got here this week. I'll be here middle of May. But let's jump into this topic I got here. Today we're going to talk about. I got to move this up. Um, what makes a full database solution? And that's definitely one of them. There's a lot of tools, a lot of cloud tools out there. You can do a lot of things with. They're pretty nifty too, but they stop short at a lot of places. In my opinion, I'm going to tell you what I think is the deal here. And let me get in there right now. And do this, start the slideshow. And here we go. Components of a full database solution. The first one, how you get input or how you get data into it. There's all kinds of different ways. Some are limited in other apps or depending on the nature of the app. But this is really important how you get stuff inside of your app. Then once you get data in there, what are you going to do with it? There's all kinds of things you can do with it. All kinds of ways you can manipulate it, calculate it, transform it into other stuff. This is really important. I think Knack really thrives at this, by the way. We'll get into that. And then the last part is, okay, now you got it in there. You've done a bunch of stuff with it. Now what do you do with it? You want to see it. You want to interact with it. You want data to become insights. And this is what I'm referring to as output. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, let's go for this again. What makes a full database solution, in my opinion? I'll make myself a little bit smaller here, and let's just jump into the slide. I'm going to go back to that. First, remember how you get stuff in. Once it's in there, what do you do with it? And then how do you see it or interact with it? Let's start with the first one: data input. Of course, forms are one of the most common ways. Next, you're pretty good at forms. Now you can use something like JotForm or any of the million form solutions out there. All they do is forms, and they're pretty good, but what you get out of that is the CSV of stuff. Now you can't connect it to other apps, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Imports, CSV typical, uploading it. You got to know what you're doing. Sometimes it can be tedious, but I'm going to give you an example. They recently, just very recently, allowed direct input from Google Sheets. And I used it the other day and it worked really smooth. And I was having some issues of outputting either Excel or Google Sheets to a CSV, and some of the information would change, the way it formatted dates, some other stuff. When I did it directly with Knack's new Google Sheet functionality, it was right the first time. I didn't have to worry about it. But that's a common way to input stuff in. Automations. Again, if let's say we're using JotForm or QuickBooks or anything, you can connect them via Make, Zapier, whatever, and that you submit a form that's going to become a record in Knack. That's another way. You can, if that type of Make, Zapier situation isn't available, you can write custom API and connect two cloud apps together. Very common. And I'm mentioning user interfaces. I'll mention this again, but this allows. I'm going to talk about permissions. There's different user roles or within user roles permissions, and it will let them do stuff or you can prevent them doing stuff. And so my point is, in terms of data input, you can put controls on that where the security or just how you want to manage people and your app. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Data management. You got your stuff in there, now let's do stuff with it. Equations, text formulas, whatever you can think of. I've done all kinds of complicated things. I did a recent one on complex commission formulas. This thing was crazy what I put together, and actually able to handle it all. So conditional rules too. You can make the value of a field based on another field's value, or based on conditions, or multiple values, and the conditions can determine which one it is. I use this all the time. I don't know what I'd do without it. Knack's great at this. Record rules. You can change values when a form's submitted to related records too, insert related records. This is all getting stuff in there and then managing it. Cross table. Sorry, there's some horses coming by here. That's the noise. It's the best I can do. So you're looking at parent records to child records, or you can do that vice versa too. You can do sums. You can draw on other information. You can do averages, counts. Counts are really good. I do that for a lot of stuff. I won't get into that now, but it's much more than counting, by the way. Tasks do the same thing. You can look at data, update data, insert different records, even take the data and produce an email. Tasks allow you to manipulate data, and it's very good. And automations too. I gave the example with JotForm and Make, but another common way to do it is Knack to Knack. So Knack goes to Make does something and comes back to Knack. I'm going to give you an example. QR code. You create a record, it has a website, or maybe it has a product ID or order ID, and eventually you want that scanned. Well, you can do an automation, and Knack lets you do that. Record created, scenario is triggered, a QR code is created, then it goes back to Knack and inserts that QR code into the field that's for the QR code. Very, very powerful. Data output. So you got this stuff in there, you've managed, manipulated it, calculated it, did whatever. So now you got data that's useful to you. I'll just say make insights. So one thing I'm talking about, back to logged in permissions or user interfaces. You may not want some people to see certain data based on user roles or based on some permission within that account's field. Full access, yes, no type stuff. I do that all the time. This lets you control that. The almighty Airtable, I don't believe lets you do that, or it has real limitations on it. You got to bring in some third-party app to help you with that. Not good. Same with display and page rules, based on the type of user, based on other values in the field. For example, if an invoice has been paid, you may not want anyone to be able to edit it. This stuff allows you to do that. So this is putting controls on what you see the output of it. Record, say you have a list of customers. It's so easy to do. You have a list of customers, you go to details of that customer. Up top is that customer, boilerplate stuff, and below is a list of all their invoices. Do it all the time. It's awesome and easy. Charts and graphs, those are important to getting insights. Volume of sales, the number of whatever. Over time, pivot tables, summing up all kinds of stuff. Knack does a pretty darn good job with that. Now there's stuff out there like Power BI. If you know the charting software, Gecko Board, tons of them that are just out of this world, cool. But a lot of them just rely on you connecting it to an external data source. I think there's some like Tableau that you're going to pay out the nose for that gives you, hey, gracias, no problem, lo siento. See, and they do an awesome job, but it's not the whole deal. Knack has it right here with it. And then, of course, you can do calendars, you can do maps. I'm only touching on some of the stuff. This is the main things that I deal with. But bottom line here is Knack has this all in its toolbox. And that's why I'm saying what makes a full database and why Knack's a great solution for it. Thanks.